Well, hello, all of you out there. I am live with Lash today, and I saw Lash on the Homestead How channel with Carrie. And I thought, what an interesting story you have, Lash. So, thank you so much for agreeing to come on and chat with me about your health journey with psoriasis and carnivore.
Thank you for having me. Absolute pleasure. Appreciate it.
The best thing was I found out you're also from Southern California, and there are so few of us SoCal carnivores that I thought that was so cool that you're just like that, a few miles that way from me. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, not
Um,
far away. I have been talking to Carrie about a Southern California meetup, and it will definitely happen. So,
awesome, because I was asking some people, and as of like a couple weeks ago, they were like, "Yeah, no SoCal, nothing in
not
California yet." I'm
yet,
like,
not
"Come on,
yet,
come on, come on."
but
Okay, well,
soon.
when
Yeah,
yes, I'll be looking for that because I will definitely be there. Because
awesome.
I've been watching them go all over the country with these meetups and just like majorly, feeling like I'm missing out. So yeah, that'll be good. I'm excited. So I would love for you to just start off by telling us a little bit about your health journey and what led you to be desperate enough to try something as crazy as eating all meat.
Absolutely. So, it began, I believe, in my teenage years, where I started developing a lot of pain in my joints, and I originally thought it was from extreme sports type activities, skateboarding, BMX, bodyboarding, and stuff like that. Right after college, I had some spots and my scalp and different places of my body, and so I went to the doctor, and they diagnosed me with psoriasis, and then down the road a little bit psoriatic arthritis, and I was prescribed creams and steroid based creams, which are really nasty. And so I was on those for about 10 years, and then lost health insurance and whatnot, and didn't do anything for it. It would go up and down depending on stress or what have you. I guess my diet, which I didn't really realize, and then yeah, it just kept getting worse and worse. And my 40s were really bad. So I'll be 50 this September. And I've been on this journey for about 2.5 years now. So, like, for the first 7 years of my 40s, it was extremely awful. And it just kept getting worse. And I kept trying different ways to eat. And I was basically eating raw vegetables for the last, 7 years of that part of the journey, and still consuming some sweets and stuff at night to combat depression, which was it was my kind of depression fix for the evening time, I guess you would say. But yeah, I went through really hellish struggles, completely covered in plaque psoriasis, scabs, open wounds, itchy, flaky, complete joint pain in every part of my body, radiating, throbbing pain coming from like inside the bone. So yeah, it got worse and worse, and I also suffered from depression for most of my life, and suicidal thoughts for most of my life, which would just show up on the daily, random times, and I had to deal with all that. So life was pretty miserable for the last 30 years. And then I went to the doctors starting probably 5 years ago. Went back to the doctors and wanted to see if there was new medicine or new treatments or anything that wasn't steroid creams or, nasty immune suppressant drugs. And there wasn't really. So yeah, I tried UV therapy again, which kind of helped me once before, and that didn't go well. Didn't help me at all. And then the doctor wanted to put me on Humira, which I refused because of the side effects and having to be on it for the rest of your life, basically. And so then the last time I went in there, I was just a miserable wreck. And he said, "Here, take these two injections, and we'll shove them in your stomach every couple weeks or whatever it is for the rest of your life. I was like, that sounds awful. What are the side effects?
Right.
And so, yeah, as he goes down the list, I'm like, you're going to kill me with this stuff. You're literally, it's, all the suicidal stuff, all the depression stuff, all that was supposed to get worse on that. So I said, Doc, I won't let you kill me. I'm going to end my life on my own. Thank you. I'm out of here. I'm going to go handle this. And so that day I came home to wrap up my life and give out my goodbyes to people and whatnot. And sorry, came across Michaela Peterson's TED Talk.
Wow.
And just was watching it and was just like, I don't even know how. I have no idea how it showed up on my phone that day. Like I still can't figure it out, but it was there and I watched the whole thing and I said, like, I want to try this. I want to try something different. And she had all these joint issues and I was like, if that helped that, it's got to be able to help what I have, So that was the start of wanting to fix myself again for the umpteenth time. So discuss that with my mom, and she led me to fasting, and at first to kind of help wean myself off of food and change, slowly, not just go right into lying, because I knew I couldn't do that mentally, and so I took a slower route than a lot of people, I think. And so I went from fasting to removal of foods, sugars and seed oils, and then went carnivore and started seeing great success as I went carnivore. Then I relapsed during the holidays of 23, had a really bad relapse, and fell back into my old ways and depression and everything, got really sick and through all the holidays. And so January 1st of 2024, I went full lion. And within a week of doing that, rapid changes as far as like pain, skin, mental, all of it. After that first week, never had a suicidal thought again. Just like completely blocked from my world now. Thank God. Yeah. So that's the short version. Yeah.
I mean, what a story. Josephine is saying that there was an angel looking out for you that day. I'm thinking the Michaela Peterson day when that popped up, because who knows how that stuff, like, I get it. Like, after I started watching Dr. Barry, then that's when all the carnivore, content started popping up in my social media. But I chose to go there. It didn't just randomly show up, one day. So I think that that's pretty amazing. And you have a purpose here, I think. And otherwise, why would that have shown up there for you? So, gosh, I have so many questions. Well, first of all, I can draw some parallels there. My son has eczema. And he get used to, when he was younger, get these blisters so big, like ginormous blisters on the bottom of his feet. It was so crazy. But whenever he had an eczema flare up, the doctor would prescribe those steroid creams, and I didn't know what else to do. And at that time, he's a little boy and he's, all itchy, but then it would just like spread to his feet, and this huge blisters, huge, like covering more than half of his foot, one blister, but the whole, base of his foot just covered. There was a point when he was in like second grade, he was in a wheelchair because of these blisters. Like, he couldn't walk, like they were all full of fluid, and the doctors drained them, and then they just filled right back up. It was crazy. And so fortunately for me, and that I do have another son that's carnivore. This is my older son that's not carnivore. I really hope that he will decide to change his diet, but fortunately he seems to have outgrown some of those, eczema outbreaks. But I always felt so guilty putting the steroid creams, but the doctor never really had any other solution. And I was never given, and at that time in my life, I didn't know anything about diet, affecting health, but Um, so did the doctors had no idea for you as to like the root cause of this? It was just the cream and then the shots and that kind of thing was their only solution that they were offering you?
Yeah, I was told, you have this autoimmune disease, and you're stuck with it for life,
Mm.
and it's degenerative, and it'll only get worse. And yeah, I've had awful every experience I've had at every doctor has been awful. And I went I went back, I don't know, about 15 years ago. I went back east to Penn State Health, like university, which had like some of the best dermatologists and rheumatologists in the country, supposedly. And I left there. I left that day definitely wanting to jump off a bridge. I just felt, I don't know, it's the way they spoke to me and the way they treated me. And they gave you zero hope for the future.
Mm.
So, for 30 years of my life, I had no hope. I had no looking forward to the future. I had no dreams of this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to have. This is, I just went day by day and tried to survive. And if I was able to accomplish some stuff that I wanted to, that I was trying to in my life, as far as my photography career, my music career, I did. Thank God I was able to do so much, but I really didn't have a hope for the future, or I never thought there was one. I thought every next day could be the day that I just end it. So now, having just a whole new life, and to be able to see the future for the first time is it's the greatest blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, what were some of the specific ways? Was it mostly just like the mental aspect of it? Like you were already having these suicidal thoughts and then there was no hope, like this condition's not going to get any better. Was it that mental aspect of it, or like what were the specific ways? How did it affect your, because you talked about your music career and your that kind of thing?
So, yeah, I mean, the fact that I didn't think it would ever get better, and it was only getting worse, right? And the pain
Mm-hmm.
was only getting worse. And every doctor told me there was no hope unless I took their drugs for the rest of my life, which definitely was not on my list of things I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I knew deep down in my heart there was a way to fix this on my own. Um, Also, sleeplessness, that played a huge part in
Mm-hmm.
day to day miserable life and depression. I slept an average of 2 hours, if that, a night, just because of the radiating pain, the itch, and just pure uncomfortableness in my own skin.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I've you might hear my voice. I have a little bit of a cold going on, but I heal so much faster now on carnivore. I took yesterday off of work, took a nap, woke up, like I my energy's great now today. It's just I have a little bit left in the throat and but just that little itchy throat, and it keeps you from sleeping. I can't imagine being that way every day for what'd you say, 30 years, right? Like that's crazy to me. Um,
Yep.
we had a question here. MK Smalls is asking, did you have any hives or anything like that with your no hives?
No hives, just yeah, if you go to my Instagram page, you can see the few images that I did take while I was sick, because obviously I didn't want to take images of myself like that.
Yeah.
But I finally, wised up and said, dude, you gotta get some pictures of this. Yeah, but no hives, just really bad, like raised, itchy, flaky psoriasis patches, like just really bad. And like it felt like your body was in like I don't know, like a cement prison that itched
Mm,
like, poison oak or whatever. I don't even know what to compare it to.
wow.
But yeah, no
Uh,
hives.
No hives. Josephine is saying, hearing all these stories, it sounds like the brain starts healing first. It was the same for me too. Do you feel that way, Lash? That it was like your brain, it got your mental health right? Did that get better before the skin issues started to improve?
Definitely noticed that as I got more in off less from the animal base and more into the carnivore. The brain fog and the depression and like the suicidal thoughts and all that, definitely. But like once I really cleaned it all up and went full lion, like it's just been it's been amazing ever since, as far as the brain and the mental.
Hmm. So my younger son, the one that's carnivore with me, he has ADHD,
Mhm.
and I would say that it's improved his mental health, tremendously. It's crazy all of the different mental health issues that seem to be fixed with a high fat ketogenic or carnivore diet. And little did I know, I mean, he's 16 now, but little did I know his whole life until 2 years ago when I went carnivore, that food could have like we tried every intervention, like every intervention under the sun, right? And then it was like, oh, change his food, and wow, his
Wow.
symptoms are, yeah, voila, like my goodness gracious. Um, so when the doctor offered you that treatment, that you were like, I'll end my life on my own. Was your doctor aware that you were having suicidal ideation and that kind of thing? But he was like, do this anyway?
Yeah, so that's the crazy part. Like he knew I was depressed and suicidal. It's in my chart. It's in my file.
Yeah.
Take a look at it.
Yeah.
Like you look at like I honestly that same day, because there's a picture of my legs from that same day. It's one of the really bad pictures of my legs, and I was sitting I was sitting there waiting for him to come in, and his nurse came in, and she looked down at my legs because I was just sitting there with shorts on, and she goes, "What are you here for today?" And I was like, "You're not serious, are you?" It's a dermatologist's office. Like I'm just sitting here like covered in blood, and
Right.
yeah, and she proceeded to take cotton swabs and like shove them into open wounds. It's like, I gotta check for bacteria. We need to get you on antibiotics.
Hmm.
You're gonna get this and that. Look at your legs. I'm like, the treatment, these people, and yeah, he knew, and he was just this old, and he looks like he's about to die. He's sick. He's overweight, and like you're my doctor, and you look like just awful, and you're telling me awful things, and I'm not gonna come here anymore. So
Yeah. I have not ever taken a lot of medication, but in my 20s and 30s, I had chronic UTI, urinary tract infections. Just like every 2 to 3 months, I would have one. Not any, and I didn't know, like I was dumb and I didn't research it, and that's on me for not doing that. But at the same time, not once did any doctor ever say, taking all these antibiotics, there could be this, and this that could happen. It was just, you have an UTI, here's your antibiotic. You have a UTI, here's your antibiotic.
they
And it was
love.
never like the root cause of why I was getting these UTIs was never addressed with me. Um, so I probably messed up my microbiome pretty good because I was on antibiotics like 3 to 4 times a year for
Ugh,
probably 10 years,
yeah,
to get rid of these chronic UTIs. And I
yeah,
didn't know anything else to do. And I didn't research it because I just thought, well, you get sick, you go to the doctor.
right,
I didn't
right.
look into like what else could be causing it. Could it be my diet? It just never even occurred to me, nor any other. And the only other medicine, it turned out that I also had interstitial cystitis, which is a bladder thing as well. And it
Mhm.
is inflammation. And boy, since going carnivore, I've had no flare ups of that condition. Amazing. But I was on a medication for that I think they've taken off the market because it can
God,
cause blindness. Fortunately for me, I was not one of the ones who went blind, but they put me on it. And I remember when they put me on it, she did discuss side effects with me, but like they didn't know about the blindness. at
Right.
that time, because she said it's one of the fewest side effects. Like, you don't need to worry about this medication. It has one of the fewest side effects of any medication that I prescribe. This was a urologist. And it was like hair loss was one, and I forget the other one. Like, she mentioned the two main ones. And I was like, okay, well, this condition is like, to me, like losing some hair, like it was worth it to me.
Right.
We'll come to find out later, like I'm done. I hadn't taken it in a long time. It was like, oh yeah, we don't prescribe that anymore because it can cause blindness. And I was like, okay, well, I'll thank my lucky stars, I guess, that I didn't, have that side effect. But it's just been very rare in my experience, like with my children. I have not ever really had a doctor discuss, that they just the potential side effects or the root cause of anything. It's just,
Hmm.
oh, you have this, here's your pill.
Right.
um so MK Small is clarifying, does carnivore relieve hives? I'm asking for myself. So MK Small, I am not a doctor or medical professional. The one thing I know about hives is that my son has a peanut allergy. I know I have all these conditions in my family. Peanut allergy, and when he's exposed to peanuts, he gets hives. And I don't know why you're getting hives, but I think that hives are an allergic reaction. So I'm not sure, but that's my experience with them, is that they're like an allergic response. So I don't know that carnivore would relieve hives. But like I said, not a doctor, not a medical professional. Do you have any opinion on that or idea about that?
I don't. I wish I did, but I would assume that it's probably some allergy to food.
Yeah. So Josephine is saying, my thoughts are, yes, it should help even if you use the tallow cream too. I had a bad rash on my legs, gone around 4 weeks. No harm trying. So I don't know if they're really hives or if it's like other skin conditions.
Hmm.
Like a rash type, it would be like, to me, a little bit different from hives. And so if it's like another skin condition, that to me, hives are more short lived. So like my son, if he gets around peanuts, he'll have hives for a few hours, and then they'll go away. So
But I think that our skin is a warning sign.
yes.
So obviously my skin was telling me like there was a bigger serious problem here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess if you're breaking out in any kind of skin issue, it's all related to the gut.
Yeah, I used to get really bad acne right here, hormonal acne, and I haven't had a pimple here in months. I've only gotten maybe 2 or 3 since starting carnivore. So, and I used to get them cyclically, like every month around my cycle.
Well, I
And
haven't thought about that. I haven't had one. I haven't had one in 2.5 years.
there you go. So,
Crazy.
so that's my skin condition was acne, the really big bumps that are under the skin. They
Hmm.
stay there for months, and then they leave this dark spot that stays
Yeah,
there
yeah,
even
yeah,
months
yeah.
longer. And
I
they're,
have some scars.
yeah, very painful. You can't really pop them because it's just like a
Right.
big cyst. That's gross. I know.
Yes. No.
But yeah, I used to get those
Yeah.
regularly right
Absolutely.
here, and I just don't get those. Well, I shouldn't say never, but like super
Huh.
rarely, and I used to get them frequently. So I would say, like, to your point, that
That's crazy.
it's an underlying condition. Your skin is kind of a
Yeah.
warning sign for those conditions. I don't get those anymore, so pretty much so. So I wanted to ask you, this was interesting to me that you said you went into carnivore, but the first thing you did was fasting. I find
Mhm.
that interesting because when I was eating all the things and the carbs and everything, and I still struggle to fast, but it's a lot easier now. I can eat one meal or 2 meals a day and be totally fine with that. So I can do an intermittent fast of like 18 hours of not eating or
Mhm.
22 hours of not eating, fairly easily. Before, I could have never done it. Like when I had carbs, it was like every 2, 3, 4 hours, I'd be like, I gotta eat my blood sugar. Oh, how did you do that? Because I'm like, wow, he just like he fasted to kick off the process. I find that fascinating.
Well, I I just did basically 18 hours a day and gave
Okay.
myself a 4-hour window. And yeah, um, I never really ate breakfast or lunch anyway.
Okay.
Um, sometimes I would have lunch or whatever. Well, back in back in the day, I used to eat like lunch when I lived on the East Coast. I would eat a hoagie every day for lunch, or a cheesesteak, or like something way back, way back. But
Mhm.
yeah, recent years, didn't really eat lunch, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me to not eat. I also sat in traffic a lot, like 2 hours at a time at a stint, like,
Yeah.
so you know how it is out here.
Yep, that's
I
how it
was
is out here in SoCal.
working in West Hollywood and living in the farthest part of East LA you can get. So
Yep. It's gonna take
yeah,
a couple
that
hours
was
to get across
yeah.
there. Absolutely.
That helped as far as fasting went, like,
Yeah.
during that process, because I was just sitting in the car, I had no choice,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
So it made it
Um,
easier, yeah.
okay. And then what were the first things you started to take out of your diet? So after you went through that fasting phase, then like what did the transition look like? Because it seems like you researched it pretty well. Like, did
Mhm.
you have a plan of like, okay, this many weeks we're gonna have this, and then we're gonna do this?
Not really a plan, I was, I kinda just got rid of all the processed. I never really was big on fast food, but like I said, the snack stuff at night. So that was one of the first things.
Okay.
And then so on my raw vegetables that I ate every day, I would pour blue cheese dressing, which I didn't realize was just seed oil
Hmm.
and corn syrup, basically. So got rid of all the seed oils. So I cut all oil, and I was using, like, I was getting olive oil from like Italy, like a first pressed olive oil, like, and that's all I used in the beginning. And then yeah, I would cut out all the vegetables, and then it was just meat and fruit and dairy. And yeah, I think when I finally cut out all the dairy, like when I went lion, that had such a huge impact, because
Yeah.
I've tried to bring it back. I've tested some things, in the last 15 months here and there, just to see what would happen, but only carnivore items, so dairy and egg basically I've tested.
Hmm.
So, but I've had reactions, so I'm still in like the super, like, strict, I'm not really going to test for a while phase.
Yeah. I've heard for autoimmune, dairy is like no go for most people with autoimmune.
So sad.
Um, I know, right? I know. I still have dairy, but I mean, I do have some thyroid things, but my numbers have been improving. I
Mhm.
don't eat a ton of dairy, except butter. Like I have butter like every day. But like cheese is super rare for me, super occasional, that kind of thing. So you talked about lion. So are you lion now? So just ruminant meat, salt water is
Yeah,
pretty much what you do. And
yeah,
do
I
you eat
can have, I can tolerate shellfish
okay.
also, which is great. Because I grew up like eating crabs, and that was like a big part of my childhood, was crabbing and pulling them up by a string, and having my grandmother cook them up. So yeah, I'm stoked that I can tolerate, like, zero effect with crab or lobster or scallops. I just can't afford to eat that kind of stuff. So,
It is
when I
expensive.
can get it, I'll get it. But yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I wish I liked seafood because I know like all the like omega, all the good, all that stuff that's in there. I know all that stuff's good for me, and I've just never liked seafood my whole life, like nothing, like none of it.
One of the
Oh,
interviews I did the other day, someone said the exact same thing.
yeah, I know it's good for me. I just I can't put on my big girl pants and do it. I'd rather just eat my beef. Okay, so talk to me about so you eat occasional shellfish, you said, because when you can afford it. And then do you eat like grass-fed, grass-finished beef exclusively or just like any beef?
Yeah, I get all my meat from a place called Wild Fork, and it's all frozen. It's like I don't know if you've been there, but they're all around now. Long
I've
Beach,
heard
Costa
that they
Mesa,
have those.
Huntington Beach.
I need
Oh
to
my
go
gosh.
find one.
Yeah, they'll even deliver it to you for a nominal fee.
Yes, I've
But
seen their website. And then one of
yes,
my friends was like, she went to Wild Fork. I was like, wait, you went to well, there's stores? And she's like, yeah, there's
yes, it's
stores.
the
I'm like,
best
I gotta
store
find
ever.
me a Wild
There's
Fork.
no self checkouts.
Dude.
There's no anything that you like. It's really cool. So it's all
Okay, I need to
frozen.
go.
Yeah, and so basically, I go once a month, and I load up. I get like 15 to 20 pounds of ground beef, and it's all grass fed, grass finished, and it's low. It's American. It's American beef too.
Okay.
USA beef, and then I get like another 20. I total of around 45 to 50 pounds a month is what I get, and then I break it up with like tri-tips, with ribeyes, with I'll get a brisket every now and again, chuck roasts. Like I have a tri-tip in the slow cooker right now that's been going all day. That when we're done here, I'm gonna get down on.
Tri-tip is like the Southern California. That's like what we do here is
Yeah,
tri-tip.
no, so yeah, I love Wild Fork. You gotta go. Definitely Long Beach, Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa, I think are the three closest to us.
Okay. I'm inland, so I'll have to take a trip, but I do have my aunt lives in Redondo, so I will
Mhm.
occasionally drive to Redondo to go visit her. So when I'm out that way, when I'm by the coast, I
Yeah,
may do that. So
and
everybody,
they'll give you freezer bags to take them home with. So like,
oh, okay.
yeah, like if you have a long drive, just ask them for the silver bags, and they'll
Yeah,
hook you up.
that's super cool.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, everyone that watches my channel knows about picanha. Have you ever had, he's like, yes. Have you ever gotten a picanha from Wild Fork? Because I do know they have them because I've looked and I just haven't ordered one.
Oh man,
I get mine at Walmart, but I know they're even cheaper than Walmart at Wild Fork. So have you tried picanha?
I have a couple of them in my freezer right now. Grass fed picanha from Wild Fork. I love it. And I have multiple ways of cooking it. And yeah, the last one I did was low and slow. For I put it on a rack in the oven on top of my cast iron skillet, like at like 200
Mm,
degrees
okay.
for like till it gets to about 130, and then I just crank up the oven to like 500 for
Hmm.
just until it gives some color and crisp. And man, oh,
So
that's the
good.
perfect picanha.
So that's so funny because I do the exact opposite. So my method is I crank it up to 500 for
And shit.
about, yeah, 12 minutes. And then I turn the oven off and just
Yep.
let it
Yep.
slowly cool off in there. And it's
That's
like the same effect. So it gets
I
all like brown and yummy on the out, but then it's like nice and rare all throughout the middle.
yeah.
I eat picanha probably 3 to 4 days a week.
Oh, so
It's my
good.
jam.
Yeah, I learned that method that you do from oh man, Paula Dean back in the
Oh,
day.
for real?
Yeah. I used to get down on watching Paula Dean cooking shows.
Awesome. Well, I am glad to hear that there is another because sometimes I say picanha and most people are like, what the heck is picanha? And then I feel like I'm the picanha ambassador. So I am glad to hear that.
Same way.
Yes, I'm glad to hear that I am not alone on the
No,
picanha in this interview.
I turned my mom onto it, and she's in Costa Rica. She had a hard time getting it, but like, yeah, I turned her
Oh,
onto it.
okay.
She's close to carnivore, full carnivore, and she's off meds that she was on for 40 years for everything you can
Wow.
imagine. Multiple sclerosis to 4 different types of arthritis. She's been through hell. Like, talk about a woman who's strong and been through pain. And yeah, and she's doing amazing. She's off her meds. She looks wonderful. She's reverse aging. And yeah, so stoked for mama to be going on the carnivore journey with me.
That's fantastic. My mom so the first thing I did was I went keto, meat-based keto.
Mhm.
And my mom saw after me doing it for 2 months how great I was doing. And so she followed me. So she has not gone full carnivore. She's like meat-based keto. I turned her on to picanha and all of that too. She's 72 years old and she can still sit down on the floor and then get back up. She's on no medication. Her
Awesome.
arthritis in her hands stopped hurting. So she can like move all of her fingers. I remember at one point she said, my joints are starting to ache again. And I was like, yeah, because she sends me pictures of her plates. I'm like, there's been a lot of plants on your plates lately.
Mm.
And so if she gets a little too high on the plant content, she notices the joint pain, start
Isn't
to
it
come back.
amazing how fast your body, once you clear up from all this stuff and get rid of all this stuff out of your diet, like the smallest thing you notice, will affect you. And like I even
Yes.
changed all my clothes, well, I also lost 70 pounds, so I needed new clothes anyway. So
Wow.
I bought all cotton, um, you know, and linen clothes and sheets, and I changed every cleaning agent in my house. I did all those other things too, which I think people really should definitely take part in. Just clean up your everyday stuff that you might be using or putting on your body. Your skin absorbs way more than you would ever think. So also
Yes.
like the lotions and creams and makeup and hairspray and body spray or whatever people are putting on, like you don't really need any of that.
Yeah, I stopped wearing makeup in 2020, so that had nothing to do with my carnivore journey. That had to do with they sent us home to teach online, and I said, who needs makeup anymore? And I just never picked it back up.
Awesome. That's
So that's
great.
good. But then after that, I agree with you. So going carnivore, I have switched a lot of my personal care products. So like I use tallow-based soap now, and
Hmm. Yep.
tallow-based like lip balm now. A lot of things. Laura Russell makes them and people will say, just make up yourself. I'm like, well, I'm a full-time teacher and a mom and a wife. Like maybe when I retire from teaching, I'll make them myself. But I like Laura Russell because she doesn't like charge an arm and a leg. And her website is Russell Brands with a Z if anyone's interested. But I love her products, very economical. And she just does a great job. And if she does put in anything, like she has puts a little lavender in her soap, well, she grows that lavender herself, like at her own. So it's like it's not been sprayed with stuff, or
Right.
she just has plain stuff too. But anyways, it's really great, and I feel better about using that stuff on my skin, and I've started to change. As household products have run out, like the last thing I did was my dishwasher detergent, and the
Mhm.
automatic dishwasher. I changed that to one that doesn't have any like plastics and all that stuff in there
Right.
because, yeah, I think all that stuff plays a role. And it's amazing to me how it's so funny how many people, like you brought this up, I didn't bring it up, but when I do these interviews like this, how many people say, like, I went carnivore, I got my diet right, I lost weight and all these things. And now I started XYZ fill in the blank. And one of those things, you're right, it's changing all the household products and getting rid of the more toxic ones. Another thing that I've started doing is grounding. Do you do any grounding?
Oh yeah. I've always been big into that and meditation and like martial arts and being in the ocean. I go overlanding. I go camping constantly, and I even have these. I have these like socks. They're like socks, but they can't be cut, so they're like made out of like this crazy material, and they're like grounding socks but shoes. So I wear that out in wilderness hikes. But yeah, no, huge on being in touch with the earth. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not big on the hiking and all of that, but it's amazing how good I feel just going in my own backyard and putting my feet in the grass. And
Hmm.
like these are, I'll take my glasses off because these are the kind that will turn dark in the sun. The next time when I get new glasses, I'm not going to get that feature.
Good for you.
Yeah, these are old, but like I take them off because I can't see without them. I'm blind as a bat. But when I'm out in the backyard, I take them off and I let the natural sun, in my eyes and just with my feet in the grass. And it's like, I just feel calm. I was talking about this on Tuesday. I did just a short about it. Like I was out there and I was like, hey, I do this and I feel great. It makes me, I feel calmer. I feel, centered, whatever I said. And somebody commented, oh, that's just the placebo effect. Do you have any comment about that? Because I don't feel like, I mean, even if it is, I feel better. So who cares? But also, I
Yeah,
legitimately, when I go outside, get the sun in my eyes, get my feet on the earth, like I just feel good. It feels good to do that.
I guarantee you, it's not a placebo effect. It's what we need. Our eyes are the gateway to suck in the sun. Like I was told a long time ago by this weird little old cannabis doctor on Venice Beach when I first moved here to get my cannabis card, and he was like this weird looking like troll, like old creepy doctor, and he was smoking a cigarette, and he was like, "You need to stop wearing sunglasses." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Your skin. That's from you need sun in your eyes." And I was like, "Dude, you're weird. Like you're smoking a cig. You're a doctor, and you're sitting here smoking a cigarette, telling me I need to not wear. I love my sunglasses. What do you?" So yeah,
Yeah.
and then eventually I actually found the research on that and realized, holy crap, my whole life I've been wearing sunglasses too. I've been doing all the wrong stuff.
All the wrong stuff. Like
You
so
know?
many people. I just told a friend at work, and her response was, "Well, I get headaches. The sun gives me headaches," was her response. But I said, when you go for walks, like if your glasses turn dark, take them off, because that's what tells your body when the sun enters your eyes. That's what tells your brain, oh, I'm in the sun. I can like make some vitamin D now and that kind of stuff. And if you block that input out, then your body doesn't realize, that you're outside and getting sun. It's everything is connected like that. So crazy. And it's so funny to me that, yeah, it's so many carnivores have this realization. So it's like, it's kind of this domino effect. You get this, your diet right, and then all these other things, kind of follow. So I guess I just want to wrap up here, because I heard that you are doing some fundraising and things like that, because you have a great idea to sort of pay this forward. So I would love to hear about this project that you're looking to kick off, and what it entails.
Cool. So yeah. So now that I have a future, which I didn't ever believe I had before,
Mhm.
I I want so when I went through this whole journey of healing myself, I did it by myself, right? Like I had the online community, thank God, but I didn't really interact with much
Mm.
through it at all. I didn't really know, what was going on until not too long ago, really. I just met my first carnivores at the Arizona meetup a couple months ago. Like that was the first time I actually met carnivores in real life. I drove out to Arizona to meet them. So there's so many people that suffer from psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis in this country. It's like 125 million plus people or something crazy. And they're only getting younger, and it's only getting worse. And so I want to create a retreat. Basically, like think of it like Camp Carnivore, where you can come for whatever extended period of time and stay in one of these little bunkhouses that I want to build, and I will literally guide you day by day on how to fix your life and walk you through this and get you through this process and hold your hand and just teach. And I just want a place that people can feel safe in trying to fix themselves. And if they're willing to do it like I was, then I think there needs to be a place for those people. And that's what I want to do. So yeah, I launched a GoFundMe, and I'm on a mission to make this happen and make it a real thing, because it doesn't exist, and it needs to. And it's not just for psoriasis or for psoriatic arthritis. It's for depression. It's for PTSD. It's for all these things that can be fixed with this diet and this way of life. And I'd love to be 100% full time in just helping people. And so that's where I want to get to. I want to get to the point where I can, I love my job. I love my boss. God bless him. I love everything. My photo career, my music career, but honestly, I'll give it all up tomorrow to be able to help people full time. And so I want this place to happen, and that's my mission, and I feel like it needs to happen.
Yeah, that's awesome, because even a few people that I know that have tried it, there's still the mainstream voice, or the voice that has been talking to them for their whole life, telling them that meat is bad, fat is bad. That's the big one. Fat is bad. Um, I can think of, like with the picanha, you cook it and the juice is like mostly fat that comes off of that. And, I was teaching someone about this and they're like, well, what do I do with it? But it's fat though. I'm like, yeah, pour it over the top and eat it with the meat. And they're like, but it's fat. And I'm like, it's so good.
That's the best part.
That is the best part, and so, but it's like, so no matter how much, and that was after, months and months of me talking to them, showing them specific videos, not my videos, like expert videos and stuff like that, and it's just so ingrained. So I think something like what you're talking about, like get away from that, get away from that, because, and then, the doctors and the, telling you, oh, well, you got to take your statin and like all of that stuff. Get those voices, get away from them and, go somewhere to like sort of try it out for real, see the benefits. And then, once they go back home, once they've experienced the benefits and go back home, it'll be much easier to try to change. If you're not 100% on board, I think is difficult for people. And especially because we have been programmed so long, over our lives with like the food pyramid and like balance and calories and,
and just your daily routine and the routine you've been stuck in your whole life, that people get stuck. And I want to unstick them and show them a new way. And, give me 3 weeks and I'll change your life forever. It's that easy.
Well, I should have been a better host and asked for your links ahead of time. But if you give me the link to your GoFundMe and all of that, sorry, that's my phone. 1 second. I will make that stop. Okay, sorry. Give me your links and I will drop those below. So if you're catching this on the replay or if you're watching this right now, just come back in a little bit. Lash will send me the links for those things and I'll put them in the description so that those are available if you're interested in helping him out with the GoFundMe and that kind of thing. And I'll also put the link for his Instagram too, if you're interested in that.
Yeah, come by, say hi, and ask me questions on my Instagram. I talk to tons of people every day, and I love getting questions, and I love being there for people when they need someone to talk to. So, yeah, I'm here. I'm here to help.
Yeah, I can vouch for that because that's how I contacted you. After I saw you, I was like, oh, I'm just going to message this guy on Instagram. He answered me right away. So I can vouch for that. He's very friendly and he will answer you if you go ahead and shoot him a comment over that way. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Lash, for coming on and chatting with me. And maybe we'll do this again sometime when I want to talk to you more like when your retreat, your carnivore retreat is getting closer to fruition. So
absolutely, but we'll probably end up seeing each other at a meetup because it's going to happen.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.